Good morning to all. I'm Indumati, working as assistant professor in the Department of Biomedical Engineering, School of Bioengineering, Bharat Institute of Higher Education Research. Today, we are going to discuss about the what is meant by modulation and different types of modulation. So, in this, first of all, we should know about what is meant by communication system. So, this diagram shows the element of communication system. That is, what are the basic building blocks we are using in the communication system. So, we all know that communication is the process of establishing the connection between the 2 points or users or system of information exchange by sending or receiving or processing an information. So in this, we are having the source of information, transmitter and then receiver. And in between this transmitter and receiver, we are having the channel and then finally destination, that is user information we are having that. So these are all the blocks we are using in the basic elements of communication system. So in the sources of information, the generation of message signal can be a different type, that may be analog or digital, any kind. So for example, we can use as a voice signals, pictures or music or any other computer data, we can use it. And then in this transmitter, the transmitter is a collection of electronic components and circuits designed to convert the information into a signal suitable for transmission, that is over a given communication system. So in addition to this, it increases the power level of the signal. So the power level should be increased in order to cover a large space or large area. And next thing is communication channel. So in this, the communication channel is the medium, or we can call it as a path by which the message signal is sent from the transmitter to the receiver. Depending upon the types of the communication, we can have the two types of communication system will be exist, that is wire medium or wireless. So in this wire, the line communication systems are use the physical communication medium. So like we can say as a wires or cables or optical fibers. So this are all the under the category of wire communication or line communication, we can call it as. And then here the message transmission is capability is limited. So within a short range only we can transmit your information. And next type of communication is the wireless communication. So in this wireless communication, the information signal is transmitted through free space in the form of electromagnetic waves called as radio waves. So this radio waves are radiation from the transmitter in open space through a device called the antenna. So a receiving antenna interrupts the radio waves at the receiver. So the number of users can be increased in this. So in this, important thing is noise. So noise is a random and then undesirable electrical energy that enters into the communication system via the communication medium and interferes with the transmitted image, so that we are getting the distorted signal and then information loss. And then final thing is a receiver. So it is the main function of the receivers are it receives the message signal from the channel and it reproduces the message signal from the distorted signal which is received from the bandwidth. So this is a general block diagram of the communication system. So next one is modulation. So modulation is a very important process in communication system. So in this, for a signal to be transmitted to a distance without the effect of any external interferences or noise addition and without getting faded away, it has to be undergo a process called as the modulation. So this modulation process will be takes place in the transmitter side. Similarly, demodulation process will be takes place in the receiver side. So the modulation before the input signal will get into the transmission channel, we have to do the modulation. So in this, modulation process improves the signal strength of the signal without disturbing the parameters of the original signal, that is called as your message signal or information signal. So the modulation is the process of changing the parameters of a carrier signal in accordance with the instantaneous value of the modulating signal. So this modulation takes place, we have to use the two signal. One is called as the carrier signal, another one is called as the modulating signal. So next one is So in this two types of waves we are using, that is carrier signal and then message signal. So in this we can have the characteristics of the carrier signal. Okay, the characteristics of the carrier signal will be changes according to the characteristics of the message signal. So the characteristics may be on amplitude, frequency or phase. So this kind of characteristics we can change it. So next one is the need for modulation. So the modulation, need for the modulation is, first thing is we can say as the easy of radiation. So in this easy of radiation, as the signals are translated to the higher frequency. So as the signals are translated to higher frequency, it becomes relatively easier and to design amplifier circuits as well as antenna systems in this increased frequencies. So this is about the ease of radiation, and another important need for modulation is the adjustment of bandwidth. So due to this modulation process, the bandwidth of the modulated signal may be made smaller or larger than the original signal. So the adjustment of the bandwidth is also available due to this modulation process. And then the signal to noise ratio, that is called as the SNR. So the SNR in the receiver, which is a function of the signal bandwidth, can this be improved by the proper control of the what is that bandwidth at the modulating age. And then the next kind of need of modulation is the reduction in the height of the antenna. So when free space is used as a communication media, what is that? When the free space is used as a communication media, the messages are transmitted and received. Okay, the messages are transmitted and received with the help of the antenna only. So in this broadcast system, the maximum audio frequency that is transmitted from a radio station is about 5 kilohertz. So that if the signals are to be transmitted without the modulation, okay, if the signals to be transmitted without the modulation process means the size of the antenna needed for an effective radiation would be greater than the when we are using the modulation. So compared to the while if you are using the modulation process means the antenna height we can reduce it. So next one is avoiding the mixing of the signals, avoiding the mixing of the signals. So this is also important need of modulation. So each modulating signal is modulated with a different carrier frequency. So then they will occupy different slots in the frequency domain. So this modulation will avoid the mixing of the adjacent signals, and then it will increases the range of communication. That is, modulation will increase the range of communication. The frequency of the baseband signal is low, and low frequency signals cannot travel a long distance when they are transmitted. So the modulation process increases the frequency of the signal to be transmitted, hence increases the range of communication. So the attenuation reduces with the increase in the frequency of the transmitted signals. So the attenuation increases in the frequency of the transmitted signals, and they can travel long distance. So next one is in this modulation process, the multiplexing is available. Multiplexing is possible. That is, simultaneous transmission of multiple messages over a channel is known as multiplexing. So in this multiplexing, I told you in this multiplexing is the simultaneous transmission of the multiple signals, and it will be converted into the single channel, and then it will improve the quality of the reception. It will improve the modulation process will improve the quality of the reception. So due to the modulation, what will happen? The effect of the noise is reduced to a great extent. So this improves the quality of the reception in the receiver side. And then advantages of modulation. So in this advantages of modulation, there is the reduction of antenna size, and there is no signal mixing, and the increased communication range, and we can extend the communication range area, and multiplexing is possible, and possibility of bandwidth adjustments, and the improvement of reception quality. And what are the signals we are using in the modulation process? So in this signals, what are the signals we are using means message signal that I told you, that message signal or modulating signal. So this message signal is the actual signals that we want to transmit. So this is called as the modulating signal. So in this modulating signal, the signal which contains a message to be transmitted is called as the message signal. So it is a baseband signal. Okay, this message signal is also called as the baseband signal, which has to undergo the process of modulation. So to get the transmitter. Hence, it is called as the modulating signal. Another signal is the carrier signal. So in this carrier signal, the high frequency carrier signal, which has a certain amplitude, what is that carrier signal? So frequency and then phase, but contains no information. Is called as the carrier signal. So the carrier signal is a high frequency, modulating signal is the low frequency signal. So the the carrier signal is the high frequency carrier signal. So in this it has a certain amplitude and then frequency and phase, but it has no information to transmit. So it is an empty signal, and this is used to carry the signal to the receiver. Okay, so it is used to carry your message signal to the receiver. So this is about the carrier signal. And next one is the modulated signal. So what is that modulated signal? So the resultant signal after the process of modulation. Okay, the resultant signal after the process of modulation is called as the modulated signal. So the signal is a combination of modulating signal and then carrier signal. So the modulated signal consists of the combination of the modulating signal and then carrier signal. So in the signals, what we have using in the modulation process, three: one is message signal or modulating signal or information signal, another one is the carrier signal. So this two signals will be modulated and it will produce as the resultant waveform or output as the modulated signal. And next one is types of modulation. So in this types of modulation, we can have a two types: continuous waveform and then pulse modulation. Okay, so in this continuous wave modulation, it again classified into the two types. One is called as the amplitude modulation, another one is the angle modulation. So this angle modulation we can classify again into the frequency modulation or phase modulation. So this pulse modulation is again classified into the analog and then digital. Analog can be classified into the pulse amplitude modulation, pulse width modulation, pulse position modulation, and this digital modulation can be classified into the pulse code modulation and then and then delta modulation. Okay, pulse code modulation and then delta modulation. So next one is continuous wave modulation. So in this continuous wave modulation, a high frequency sine wave is used as a carrier signal. So this is further divided into the amplitude and then angle modulation. So continuous wave modulation, already I told you that this continuous wave modulation can be classified into the amplitude and then angle modulation. So the continuous wave modulation is in this high frequency sine wave is used as a carrier wave. And this continuous wave modulation is further classified into the two types, that is amplitude modulation and then angle modulation. So first one is amplitude modulation. So what is meant by amplitude modulation? If the amplitude of the high frequency carrier wave is changed in accordance with the amplitude changes in the modulating signal, means it is called as the amplitude modulation. Okay, so already I told you that the characteristics of carrier signal is changes according to the characteristics of modulating signal, means it is called as the modulation. So in this, the characteristics we are using as an amplitude variation. So if the amplitude of the high frequency carrier signal is varied in accordance with the instantaneous amplitude of the modulated signal, then such a technique is called as the, what is that, amplitude modulation. And next type is angle modulation. If the angle of the carrier wave is varied in accordance with the instantaneous value of the modulating signal, then it is called as the angle modulation. So this angle modulation is further divided into the two types, that is called as a frequency modulation and then phase modulation. Okay, so in this frequency modulation, if the frequency of the carrier wave, okay, if the frequency of the carrier wave is varied in accordance with the instantaneous value of the modulating signal, then such a thing is called as such a technique is called as the frequency modulation. And next one is in phase modulation. So if the phase of the high frequency carrier is changes in accordance with the instantaneous value of the modulating signal, means this is called as the phase modulation. So next one is pulse modulation. So in pulse modulation, a periodic sequence of rectangular pulses, okay, a periodic sequences of the rectangular pulse is used as a carrier wave. This is further divided into the analog pulse modulation and then digital pulse modulation. In analog modulation technique, if the amplitude or duration or position of a pulse is varied in accordance with the instantaneous value of the baseband modulating signal, that is called as a modulating or information or message signal. Okay, so this is called as the pulse amplitude modulation or pulse duration or pulse position, PAM, PPM, PWM. Okay, so next one is in digital modulation. So in digital modulation, the modulation technique used is a pulse code modulation. So where the analog signal is converted into the digital form. That is, digital form means it can be either ones and zeros bit stream. Okay, as a resultant, the coded pulse is trained. So this is called as the pulse code modulation. So this is further developed as the delta modulation. From pulse code modulation, again it is developed as a delta modulation. So this is the classification of the modulation system. So next one is amplitude modulation. So in this amplitude modulation, the amplitude of the carrier signal varies in accordance with the instantaneous amplitude of the modulating signal. So here a continuous wave goes on continuously without any intervals, okay, without any intervals, and it is the baseband message signal which contains the information. So this wave has to be modulated. This wave has to be modulated. So according to the definition of amplitude modulation, the amplitude of the carrier signal varies in accordance with the instantaneous amplitude of the modulating signal. So which means that the amplitude of the carrier signal containing no information. So as per the amplitude of the signal containing information. So at each instant. So you can see this figure. So in this, the first waveform is the baseband signal, that is called as the information signal or message signal or modulating signal. So next one is the carrier wave, and which has a high frequency signal. While you're comparing this carrier signal with the modulating signal, you can see that it has the time is less time when it is compared with the modulating signal. So the time and frequency is inversely proportional to each other. So here the frequency in carrier signal, you can see that the frequency of the carrier signal is high. And the last one is the resultant modulated waveform. This is called as the amplitude modulated waveform. So in this amplitude modulated waveform, we can see that depends upon the amplitude variation of your modulating signal, the carrier signal amplitude is changes. The carrier signal amplitude is changes. And next one is mathematical expression of the amplitude modulated waveform. So in this amplitude modulated waveform, following are the mathematical expression for this waves. So in this time domain representation of the wave, so let the modulating signal be m of t is equal to am cos 2 pi fm of t. Okay, the modulating signal can be written by m of t is equal to am cos 2 pi fm or t, and the carrier signal be denoted as c of t is equal to ac cos 2 pi fc t. So where AM and AZ are the amplitude of the modulating signal and the carrier signal respectively, and FM and FC are the frequency of the modulating signal and then carrier signal respectively. so that the equation of the amplitude modulated wave can be written by S of t. Okay, so S of t is the amplitude modulated wave, and this can be written by AC plus AM cos 2 pi Fm t into cos 2 pi FCT. Okay, so it is a combination of carrier and then message waveform. So this is called as denoted as equation 1. So next one is modulation index. So a carrier wave being modulated, if the modulated level is calculated, then such attempt is called as the modulation index. So this modulation index is nothing but ratio of the amplitude of the modulating voltage to the carrier signal modulating voltage, carrier signal amplitude of the modulating signal to the amplitude of the carrier signal. So while rearranging the equation 1, we can get as S of t is equal to AC into 1 plus AM by AC cos 2 pi FMT into cos 2 pi FCT. So this can be written by S of t is equal to AC into 1 plus mu, that is modulation index mu, that is AM by AC. So I can substitute mu is equal to AM by AC. So mu into cos of 2 pi FMT into cos 2 pi FC. So here mu is the modulation index and it is equal to the ratio of the AM and then AC. So mathematically we can write as my modulation index mu is equal to AM by AC. So this is equation number 3. And then hence we can calculate the value of the modulation index by using the formula, that is AM by AC. So when the amplitudes of the message and carrier signals are known. And you can see here in this A max and A minimum be the maximum and minimum amplitudes of the modulated waveform. So we will get the maximum amplitude of the modulated wave when cos 2 pi FMT is 1. So that A max is equal to AC plus AM. So this we can keep it as equation 4. And when we are getting the minimum amplitude of the modulated waveform when cos 2 pi Fm of t is minus 1. So that I can write A minimum is equal to AC minus AM. So while you adding the 4 and 5, equation number 4 and 5, we can get it as A max plus A minimum is equal to AC plus AM plus AC minus AM. So in this equation, AM plus AM and minus AM will be cancelled. So we can get it as a 2AC. So AC is equal to A max plus A minimum divided by 2. So subtract equation 5 from the equation 4, we will get it as A max minus A minimum is equal to AC plus AM minus AC minus AM is equal to 2AM. So this implies that AM is equal to A max minus A minimum divided by 2. So this is equation number 7. And then while you're taking the ratio of the AM by AC is equal to substitute the value of AM and then AC. So we will get it as A max minus A minimum divided by 2 and AC divided by A max plus A minimum divided by 2. So from this I can write AM by AC means we already know that modulation index. So modulation index mu is equal to A max minus A minimum divided by A max plus A minimum. Next one is, so the modulation index or modulation depth is often denoted by the term called as percentage. So if the modulation index is represented by percentage means it is called as the percentage modulation. So when we we will get the percentage of modulation is by multiplying the modulation index value with 100. So for a perfect modulation to takes place, the value of the modulation index should be 1. So which implies the percentage of modulation should be 100%. And for instance, if the value is less than 1, then the modulation index is, for example, it is 0.5. Then the modulated output would look like a in the figure. So the figure is shown in figure. So this is called as the under modulation. So modulation index is less than 1 means it is called as the under modulation. Such a wave is called as a under modulated waveform. So that waveform is called as a under modulated waveform. So this under modulation will happen when the modulation index value is less than 1. So it is called as the under modulation and then waveform is called as the under modulated wave. And next one is if the value of the modulation index is greater than 1, it is, for example, we can have as a 1.5. So then the waveform will be an over modulated wave. Then that wave is called as a over modulated, and this modulation is called as the over modulation. So this figure shows the over modulated waveform. So you can compare the under modulated waveform and then over modulated waveform. So always the modulation index, we have to keep it as a less than or equal to 1. Okay, so next one is bandwidth of the amplitude modulated waveform. So the bandwidth is the difference between the highest frequency and the lowest frequency of the signal. So we can represent mathematically as bandwidth is equal to Fm max minus Fm minimum, F minimum. So consider the equation, that is amplitude modulated waveform, that is from the previous derivation. S of t is equal to AC into 1 plus mu cos 2 pi fmt into cos 2 pi fct. So this implies that multiply AC cos 2 pi fc inside. So S of t is equal to AC cos 2 pi fct plus AC mu cos 2 pi fct cos 2 pi fmt. So S of t is equal to AC cos 2 pi fct plus AC mu divided by 2 cos 2 pi fc plus fm of t plus AC mu by 2 cos 2 pi fc minus fm into t. And the amplitude modulated wave have three frequencies. One is called as a carrier frequency Fc, and then upper sideband frequency that is called as the Fc plus Fm, and then lower sideband frequency that is called as the Fc minus Fm. So here F max is equal to Fc plus Fm, that is maximum frequency is called as the Fc plus Fm, and then F minimum is equal to Fc minus Fm. So now you substitute the value of Fm, F max and F minimum values in the bandwidth formula. That is, already we are having bandwidth is equal to F max minus F minimum. So in that equation, we can substitute the value of F max minus F minimum, so that I can get it bandwidth is equal to Fc plus Fm minus Fc minus Fm. So in this, if you simplify it, so Fm, Fc and then Fc will be cancelled. So we can get it bandwidth is equal to 2Fm. So that is 2 into modulating signal frequency. And next one is power calculation. So we can take it as a S of t, that is amplitude modulated wave from the previous derivation. So we are having S of t is equal to AC cos 2 pi fct plus AC mu by 2 cos of 2 pi fc plus fm into t plus AC mu by 2 cos 2 pi fc minus fm into t. So power of amplitude wave is equal to the sum of power of the carrier, upper sideband and then lower sideband. That is, total power is equal to carrier power PC plus PUSB plus PLSB. So we know that formula for power is, power of the cos signal is P is equal to V RMS square divided by R. So from that I can write V RMS is equal to Vm divided by root 2. So that power equation P is equal to Vm by root 2 the whole square divided by 2. So in this, V RMS is the RMS value of the cos signal, and then Vm is the peak value of the cos signal. So now we can find the powers of the carrier, because total power is equal to PC, PUSB plus PLSB. So that we need to calculate the value of carrier power, sideband powers. So PC is equal to AC divided by root 2 the whole square divided by R. So this can be written by AC square divided by 2R. Similarly, upper sideband power P USB is equal to AC mu divided by 2 into root 2 the whole square divided by R is equal to AC squared into mu squared divided by HR. Similarly, the lower sideband power can be written by PLSB is equal to AC squared mu squared divided by HR. Now, when we are adding this three powers, that is PT is equal to carrier power AC squared divided by 2R plus upper sideband power is AC squared mu squared divided by HR plus AC squared mu squared divided by HR is the lower sideband power. So while we adding this three, we can take it as a common AC squared divided by 2R. So the remaining terms are 1 plus mu squared by 4 plus mu squared by 4. And we can write PT is equal to PZ into 1 plus mu square divided by 2. So we can use this formula to calculate the power of amplitude modulated waveform when we know the carrier power and then modulation index. So if this two data has given, if we want to calculate the total power, means we can use this formula. PT is equal to PZ into 1 plus mu squared by 2. So if the modulation index mu is equal to 1, means the power of the amplitude wave is equal to 1.5 times the carrier power. So the power required for transmitting an amplitude modulated wave is 1.5 times the carrier power for a perfect modulation. And then, so it is the one example problem. So modulating signal m of t is equal to 10 cos 2 pi into 10 to the power 3t is amplitude modulated with a carrier signal c of t is equal to 50 cos 2 pi into 10 to the power 5 into t. So find the modulation index, carrier power, and then power required for transmitting the amplitude modulated wave. So in a problem, it has given us modulating signal and then carrier signals. So we need to find the modulation index, carrier power, and the power required for transmitting the amplitude waveform. So from that given data, we can write m of t and then carrier signal also. So m of t is equal to 10 cos 2 pi into 10 to the power 3t. So while you are comparing this equation with the standard form of modulating signal, m of t is equal to am cos 2 pi fmt. So while comparing this two, I can write am is equal to 10 volts and fm is equal to 10 to the power 3 hertz, that is 1 kilohertz. And the carrier signal similarly, C of t is equal to 50 cos 2 pi into 10 to the power 5t. So C of t is equal to AC cos 2 pi fct. So in this, comparing this two equation, so I can write AC is equal to 50 volts and FC is equal to 10 to the power 5 hertz is equal to 100 kilohertz. So we know in the problem they asked to calculate the modulation index. So modulation index formula is mu is equal to AM by AC. So AM value and AC value we got it. So mu is equal to 10 divided by 50 is equal to 0.2. And next one is, so we got a modulation index is 0.2 and we can calculate the carrier power. P is equal to AC square divided by 2R. So we can assume that R is equal to 1 and we can substitute AC value. So that carrier power is 50 square divided by 2 into 1 is equal to 1250 watts. So carrier power P is equal to 1250 watts. So total power is equal to, so now we have the carrier power and then modulation index value. So by using this value data, we can calculate the carrier total power PT. So PT is equal to PZ into 1 plus mu square divided by 2. So PT is equal to 1250, that is PZ value 1250 and mu value is 0.2. So 1250 plus into 1 plus 0.2 square divided by 2 is equal to 1275 watts. So the power required for transmitting the amplitude modulated wave is 1275 watts, that is 1275 watts. Next one is DSBSC modulation. So what it is, DSBSC means abbreviation is double sideband suppressed carrier. Okay, double sideband suppressed carrier. So before going to double sideband suppressed carrier, first we know about the double sideband full carrier or DSB-FC system. So actually your amplitude modulated waveform, complete amplitude modulated waveform having consist of the carrier signal and then upper sideband and then lower sideband. So this is shown in this figure. You can see in that position of the carrier is there and then right side upper sideband FC plus FM is there and then right left side lower sideband FC minus FM is there. So original amplitude full complete amplitude modulated waveform having these three elements. So in this, while if you're sending this all this double sideband suppressed carrier, so already I in the introduction itself I told you that the carrier contains no information. So it is able to that is we can suppress this carrier signal because it has no information to transmit. So we can just suppress that carrier signal and only we can transmit the sideband frequencies, that is lower sideband and then upper sideband. So this technique is called as the double sideband suppressed modulation. So it is denoted in this diagram. So position of the carrier, it is represented as the dotted line. So the carrier is suppressed and the sidebands are allowed for the transmission. So in this we can see that the modulating signal m of t is equal to am cos 2 pi fmt and carrier signal is c of t is equal to ac cos 2 pi fmt. So mathematically we can denote as s of t is equal to m of t into c of t. So while multiplying this, s of t is equal to am ac cos 2 pi fmt into cos 2 pi fct. and single sideband suppressed carrier. So in previous we have sent only the two sidebands and we have suppressed. But one more point is the both upper sideband and lower sideband frequency have the same information. So it is the replica of that both. So has your double sideband suppressed signal have a two sidebands. This two sideband having the carry the same information. So there is no need to transmit both sidebands. So we can suppress or we can eliminate one sideband. So the process of suppressing one sidebands along with the carrier. So carrier also suppressed and then one sideband also suppressed. So and transmitting a single sideband is called as a single sideband suppressed carrier system. Okay, single sideband suppressed carrier system, or simply we can call it as a SSBSC. So it is the graphical representation of the single sideband suppressed carrier system. So it is mentioned in the dotted lines, that is carrier is also mentioned as a dotted line, and then lower sideband also we have suppressed, that is also represented as a dotted lines. So this system is called as a double single sideband suppressed carrier, only one sideband, so that we have mentioned as a single sideband. So this one, and then advantages of this one is the bandwidth or spectrum space could be occupied is lesser than the complete amplitude modulated waveform, and then double sideband suppressed carrier waveform. And here the transmission of more number of signals also allowed, and power is saved, and high power signal can be transmitted, and the noise will be also very less, and signal fading is less in this system. And disadvantages, the generation and detection of single sideband suppressed carrier wave is complex process one, and also that the quality of the signal gets affected unless the single sideband transmitter and receiver have an excellent frequency stability. And application wise, this we can single sideband suppressed carrier system for more power saving requirements and lower bandwidth requirements we can use it. And in land, air and maritime mobile communication also we can employ this one. And in point to point communications it is applicable, and also in the radio communications and television, telemetry, radar communication, and then military communication or amateur radio. So in this field the single sideband suppressed carrier is applicable. Next one is vertical sideband suppressed carrier system. So in previous, that is single sideband suppressed carrier system, practically we not get the entire sideband frequency component in practical way. So we didn't get the we not able to get the entire sideband frequency component. So this is because due to this some information will be lost. So to avoid this loss, a technique is chosen, that is called, which is a compromise between the double sideband and then single sideband suppressor system. So what is that technique? The technique is called as the vertical sideband suppressed carriers technique, that is VSBSC. VSBSC system, that is called as the vertical sideband suppressed carrier system. So the word vestige means a part from which, from which the name is derived. So in this vertical sideband suppressed carrier modulation process, where a part of the signal called as a vestige is modulated along with the one sideband. So in this figure it denoted as a chord bands. So along with this upper sideband, part of the lower sideband is also being transmitted in this technique. Similarly, we can transmit the lower sideband along with the part of the upper sideband frequency. So here we have using the guard band. A guard band is a very small bandwidth which is laid on the either side of the vertical sideband in order to avoid this. Two vertical guard bands we have used. So this is here we used to avoid the interference. So this vertical sideband modulation is mostly used in a television transmission. And then bandwidth of vertical sideband suppressed carrier modulation, in the bandwidth is denoted as the FM. Since VSB-SC modulated wave contains the frequency components of one sideband along with the vestige of other sideband, the bandwidth of it will be the sum of the bandwidth of SSB modulated wave and then vestigial frequency. So that it is a FM plus FV. And advantages, it is the VSB SD system has the highly efficient and reduction in bandwidth when compared to the AM and DSB SC waves, and the filter design is easy since high frequency is not needed. The transmission of the frequency is possible without any difficulty, and also it possesses the good phase frequency. So this is about the advantages. Thank you.